Hello, YouTubers. This is another week of little training on Java and NodeJS, JavaScript, NodeJS. This week I'm going to take a different line. I'm trying to introduce, or I'm going to attempt to introduce MongoDB. I've been working with it for the last few weeks and found it interesting. I have used various types to achieve a single end, to insert records or documents into a MongoDB database, which is Mongoose and MongoDB. I found Mongoose a little bit tricky. It involved a little bit more for what I want to achieve. MongoDB, which just uses the MongoDB client, which is native, is just perfect. Does the job. Don't need to manipulate or use Express, which is another framework which could be used to insert new records and so on and so forth. The MongoDB just does the job, and I'm going to be using that because it's a very easy operation. So bear with me whilst if you notice up here, I've actually I've just put a few comments just to start you off, which is a YouTube video, MongoDB. The topic, I'm going to use CRUD. I'm going to do CRUD, which is create, retrieve, update, and delete. But for this video, I'm going to do which is create and retrieve a new document. And then so the tasks would be to insert a new document and find the record. Frameworks I'm going to be using is the readline sync, which will actually take input from the keyboard, console, the terminal. As you've noticed from my previous videos, I'm not interested in doing anything webified, so it's just from the console, and readline does it well. There is a readline sync, excuse me. There is the readline operation, but it involves a little bit more manipulation of the actual input, and readline sync just does it one line, and boom, you're done. MongoDB client, MongoDB is what I'm going to be. It's the second library I'm going to load, and then Lodash. Lodash would facilitate looking for a record, rather as more or less like a partial input. I put a partial input into my prompt, and I should be able to find the record. That's what I'm going to use Lodash for. I don't know how successful I'm going to be in this video, but I'm going to attempt to do it. So first of all, I'm going to load my libraries. Load libraries. Okay. The first I'm going to load is going to do MongoDB first. Okay, so const so it's Mongo client, and I'm going to put in the object ID there as well, because those are two which for a MongoDB database, the object ID is the kind of the unique feature, the unique indicator for each of the record documents that I put in there. So you can have multiple names or multiple people bearing the same names, but the unique ID, which is the object ID, is just that. It's very unique. They're never going to be two in the same database. So this would facilitate future videos will demonstrate how we can delete a record with people bearing the same names, but we delete one just using the object ID as the find parameter. Okay, so object ID, and we're going to require excuse me, MongoDB, that's it. Okay, and we're going to require Lodash, which I said we're going to be using that for search, partial search parameter. I'm going to attempt this. I've done it a couple of times. It's pretty easy. Lodash is quite a good framework for, rather than write your own libraries, Lodash does the job fine. So const there's an underscore equals require load dash. And the third is we're going to do readline sync. As you can see beneath here, I've actually installed them. You can see readline sync, you see load dash there, and MongoDB. Yeah, so these are the three which I'm going to be using for this exercise. So the third const, I'll just go rl sync equals require readline sync. Okay, I'm going to because we're going to be putting this into all our records. We're going to demonstrate putting records into a database. So and it will involve creating a connection to that server. The server MongoDB by default will run on port 27017. So I'm going to create a URL which would actually connect to that database on that port. So so I'm going to do that now. So it's going to be it's a const. So it's going to be URL. I'll just call it my. I'm going to say tube. Okay. Tube URL. That'll do fine. Equals. So it's MongoDB // localhost locale host on port 27017 yes, I think that's the correct port. I've got a similar one. Let me just make sure the port is 27017. That's it. Yeah. Okay. And my database, YouTube. Okay. That's going to be my URL. So we're going to start by connecting to the database. So I'm going to demonstrate the connection to this database. I have a terminal which actually connects to the database. If you want to read more on how to connect to a database and create a database and connect to the database using the terminal, you would have to do a little bit of reading. If you go to MongoDB website URL, you actually see it. You can see it. That's my connection now open. So it's on a local host. Okay. Let me see if I can show more of this. So that's how it connects. So all the ports are open. So if you read a little bit more, then you would see there's no biggie. Just open up a terminal, run MongoDB, put in the data path, and it will connect. Okay, right. So I'm just going to minimize that for now. So let's try and connect to the database. So we'd say Mongo client .connect open bracket. I've got the URL in there, so I'm going to put say YouTube URL, and then we're going to error check it as well. Open error and client. So this will just say a callback and callback function. Let's make sure we check it. Okay, let's go. Right, so then we go to DB. This is what we're going to be used to open up the connection, the collection, because inside the MongoDB database there is a collection. So I'm going to put set variable to connect to the collection MongoDB collection. So just a client. DB, we're going to use DB equals client.db, and then we're going to call it my YouTube. Okay. So this is what this is what's going to be the collection. So the top one is the YouTube, which is the database, and it's going to be my collection. I don't know why I keep on that do my DB collection. Okay, right. Let us error check. If error, and then I want it to console log. I'll just console log there. Console log. Oh, oops. Unable to connect to the database. That'll do fine. And then else data console log connected to the database. That'll do fine. So we're going to test this, just this connection. Make sure. I'm going to save it. Let's put it right there. Okay, let's save this. Let's see if we can connect to our database. And you see probably a few videos in here. The one which we're trying to connect to is this one, which is the CRUD operation. Copy that. Clear my screen and node, Control V. Let's see if we can connect to the database. I'm going to, they've changed, see, I'm going the depreciation in this part, so I'm going to add a little parameter. So see, so in here where the URL, I'm going to new, is it yeah, if I remember correctly, it's what it's called. So it's use new URL parser, and I set that to true. True. I'll come up there. Let's test the connection again. Let's test the connection again. There we go. So that gets rid of that error. So this is a new parser which they've introduced to get rid of that the old method. Okay, cool. So we're going to attempt now to connect to create a record. I'm going to do this by using reading input from the command line. So, and I use read line sync for this purpose. So what I will do now is prompt for input of records, and I'm going to use that, pass that in the record, the information entered, pass that through to variables to create the new record. Okay, Let's go. Right. Accept input from the terminal to, yeah, that'll do fine. So I'm going to now, first thing I do is read let input, because I'm going to use a variable. So let's in name, for instance, in name equals, what do we call that? YouTube, not YouTube, RL sync, open because it's function, enter your name into your name. We do that, and that's all it takes. So it uses it's far different from the one which is done by the native product, which is RL readline. This is a little bit different and easier to use. So this is my preference. You might decide to use the native one, which is a standard in, standard out readline operation. Let's get your code. Name company in company equals, and this is another prompt, RL sync, enter company name. Do, and then we just have to take this third one, let in age equals RL sync, enter your name. Okay, so let's put a little space there, so it's okay. We're going to save all these. To save all these, we're going to save them in variables. Save them in what they call the parameters which will be used to insert this into the collection database. So we're going to now connect. That's not connect to the. We're not going to connect there. We're going to connect to the collection. So db.collection, and it's called my confused, and it's we're going to call it my collection. My collection. I always like using lowercase, it's much easier. Okay, my collection. Okay, so dot insert one. Insert one, do it fine. And it's just one record. So we're going to, and now open up, because it's a function, we're going to say name. So this is an object which would insert into the database, so name. And that's, instead of typing in the name, we could do this and just put Steve Jobs, for instance. But I'm not going to do that. We're just going to use our variable, which is up here, which is in name, comma, next object is company, company. Okay, let's just make this a little bit uniform. Sometimes it's just like the tabbing to be aligned in company, and the third is going to be in age, and we're going to use in age, which is going to, there we go. So that should be that. And then we can check the records once we've done that. I think we can do it from the same operation. So we error and result. I think this should be, or res, depends on that. Okay. So res. Okay, it could be it's an error function. Okay. So do if error, then we just say we just console log the error. Console.log error, and we just else it there. Else we console.log record saved successfully. Okay. I think that should do it. Let me see. I think I can also find. Let me see if I can find the record. I'd like to find the record if I can. Let's see. Let's do this first. What we'll do, we would try and see if we can save the record. I've got a database, a MongoDB database. It's got 3T, which actually allows us. I don't want this video to be too long. I just want to make it as short as possible. And then we would verify the record by on the console when I do my find, which is retrieve, which will be next week. But what I'll do just in the interim is to show you the record once it's saved. So let's just try this operation. Let's see how far we go. Okay, so oops, I've got an error. What is that? RL sync. Where did I use it as a function? Did I use RL sync? RL sync require RL sync. Oh, there we go. I'm missing a parameter. RL sync dot question. That's where I go wrong. Dot question. Again, dot question. Save that. Clear my screen. Let's go there. Let's try that. Okay, enter name. Joe Blogs. Enter company. YouTube. Enter age. 45. Bear in mind, this is not my age. Let's see. Record saved. Okay, as I said before, I've got a program called it's called RoboT, and it's quite good for actually manipulating databases. So I'm going to see if it comes up here. Let's start from here. Refresh. Ah, there we go. And our collection, my collection. And bravo, there we go. That's the record. You can see we've used it, used MongoDB, and didn't have to use Mongoose. I didn't have to use Express to achieve this, and we got the record. Thank you very much. So next week, what we'll be doing, I would facilitate, I will improve on this to actually get to find a record. I don't want to make this video too long, so that I can do that in the next video. Until next week, goodbye. Bye bye.